Hello, and welcome to Day by Day True Crime Stories, the podcast where we explore a different crime or justice milestone from this day in history. I'm your host, Kona Gallagher, and today is July 4th. On this day in 2022, what should have been a joyful 4th of July celebration in Highland Park, Illinois, became a scene of terror. Lone gunmen armed with a high-powered rifle opened fire from a rooftop during a holiday parade. In less than a minute, 7 people were killed and dozens more were injured. Now, nearly 3 years later, justice has been served, but for the community and the victims' families, the journey continues. Today, we're talking about the 2022 Highland Park 4th of July shooting. Let's get started. July 4th, 2022 was an exciting day in Highland Park, Illinois, a peaceful suburb just north of Chicago. Families lined the sidewalks of Central Avenue waiting for the town's annual Independence Day parade. Kids clutched juice boxes and tiny flags while parents chatted and settled into lawn chairs. The mood was festive and relaxed. It was exactly what you expect from a small-town parade. But at 10:14 a.m., that peace was shattered. A rapid burst of gunfire rang out. At first, it was just mistaken for fireworks, but the horror quickly became clear. A shooter had climbed onto the roof of a local business using an unsecured exterior ladder and began firing an AR-15 style rifle into the crowd below. In less than 60 seconds, he fired 83 rounds. The scene descended into chaos. People ran for cover, parents shielded their children, bystanders dove behind parked cars. Cell phone videos captured the terror. There were overturned strollers, abandoned folding chairs, sobbing children, and police sprinting toward danger. When the dust settled, 7 people had lost their lives. Catherine Goldstein, 64, a devoted mother and friend. Rena and Kevin McCarthy, 35 and 37, who died protecting their 2-year-old son, Aiden. He was later found wandering alone, his clothes stained with blood. Jacqueline Jackie Soontime, 63, a beloved staff member at her synagogue. Stephen Strauss, 88, who is known for his energy and his love of family. Nicholas Toledo Zaragoza, 78, visiting from Mexico and hesitant to attend the parade because of his mobility issues. And Eduardo Uvaldo, 69. He died the following morning from his injuries. Dozens more were wounded, ranging in ages from 8 to 85. Some were seriously injured, standing mere feet from loved ones who didn't survive. After the shooting, emergency crews rushed in. Paramedics from neighboring towns, local nurses, even bystanders who were trained at first aid stepped in to help. In just a few horrific minutes, a day meant to celebrate American freedom became one of Illinois' deadliest mass shootings. While police secured the scene, the shooter, 21-year-old Robert Cremo III, had already slipped away. Dressed in women's clothing and makeup to conceal his identity and his tattoos, he blended into the fleeing crowd and calmly walked away. He made his way to his mother's house, borrowed her car, and headed north toward Wisconsin. Police quickly identified Cremo as a suspect after recovering the rifle that he had left behind on the rooftop. Because despite 2 disturbing encounters with law enforcement in 2019, including threats of violence and a suicide attempt, Cremo had legally purchased the weapon. In fact, he owned 5 guns in total, all legally obtained. Authorities launched a manhunt and released his name and photo. At 6:30 p.m., an officer spotted his vehicle on Route 41. Cremo was pulled over and arrested without incident. A second rifle was found in the car. Cremo later confessed not only to the Highland Park shooting, but also revealed that he had considered a second attack in Wisconsin. He turned back, though, because, quote, he hadn't planned enough, end quote. What became clear in the days following the shooting is that this attack was not spontaneous. It was methodically planned. Cremo had staked out the parade route, chosen a rooftop for its clear line of sight, and disguised himself in order to avoid detection. He brought extra magazines and had another weapon ready for a potential second attack. And despite clear warning signs, Cremo was able to legally obtain his arsenal. In 2019, police responded to his home twice, once for a suicide threat, and again after he allegedly said he wanted to kill his family. Weapons were seized at the time, but no charges were filed. Later, his father co-signed a firearm permit application for him. Online, Cremo had posted disturbing videos and music under the alias Awake the Rapper that glorified gun violence and mass shootings. One post chillingly read, quote, "I need to do it. It is my destiny," end quote. All of this was public, yet no red flag law was invoked, no action was taken, and on July 4th, 2022, the consequences of those missed opportunities became devastatingly clear. The day after the shooting, Cremo was formally charged with 7 counts of first-degree murder. A grand jury later indicted him on 117 felony counts, including attempted murder and aggravated battery. He initially pleaded not guilty, but in March of 2025, Cremo changed his plea. He admitted guilt to all charges in exchange for avoiding trial. This decision meant that the victims' families wouldn't have to relive the trauma in court. At his sentencing in April 2025, Judge Victoria Rossetti handed down 7 consecutive life sentences without parole, 1 for each life lost, plus 2,400 additional years for those who are wounded. Cremo declined to attend. Over 70 survivors and family members gave powerful victim impact statements. In the wake of the tragedy, Highland Park didn't crumble. It united. Vigils were held, and the McCarthy's young son Aiden became a symbol of the survivors. A GoFundMe campaign raised over $3 million for his care. Mayor Nancy Rotering and local survivors became national voices for gun reform. In early 2023, Illinois passed an assault weapons ban. Legal challenges followed, but the state Supreme Court upheld it later that year. In 2024, families of the victims filed civil lawsuits against both gun manufacturers and Cremo's father, alleging negligence in enabling him to obtain firearms. Those suits remain pending as of this recording in 2025. The 2023 and 2024 July 4th observances in Highland Park were marked not with parades, but with moments of reflection and remembrance. And the city has since reimagined the holiday as one centered around community and honoring the victims. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Day by Day True Crime Stories. If you found today's episode compelling, please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. It'll help us grow. And be sure to join me again tomorrow as we explore another significant event in true crime history. Until then, stay safe and remember that behind every headline is a life worth remembering. Day by Day True Crime Stories is a Little Monster production.
Hey, you can do it!